Hi everyone, welcome back to the Build Your Own Small Boat channel. If you're thinking of building or are building your own small stitch and glue boat, I hope my last video with top 10 starter tips helped you out. If they did, let me know in the comments below. And today, come along with me as I finish creating the bulkhead, have the dagger board assembly teach me a thing or two, and finally start putting together something that actually looks like a boat. Remember me filling some countersunk holes with some pasty brown epoxy glue? Well, I'm about to drill the holes through them with a 3/8 bit drill. Here's the whole piece. It's got 6 holes. First, I'll drill a pilot hole with this 5/16 inch drill bit. Here goes. That's harder than it looks because the epoxy isn't smooth. I'll try this one. Okay, I've drilled my pilot holes and now it's time to get serious to drill the big holes with this enormous drill bit. Well, we've drilled all the big holes, like this one. So now I'm ready to put in the big screws, like this one. The screw will attach to this that in the manual they call the star knob, like this. First, I need to wax the screws. I'm going to use this butcher block conditioner, which Chesapeake Light Craft said was okay to use instead of the paste floor wax that it says to use in the manual. I guess I just put it on this cloth. It was really goopy. And then wipe down the screw with it. And then they said to put it through the star knob and get it on the inside of that screw. Well, I filled the holes. Here's the top of one. And here it is. The screw is sticking out underneath. I ended up not filming the whole process because it was a bit finicky to get rid of the excess epoxy that squished around the edges and also to get rid of it from the screw threads underneath. So now, as usual, I've just got to wait for it to dry, or cure. Cure is the proper term, cure. Okay, now that the glue is dried, our bulkhead looks something like this, with these star fasteners. And they just screw on just like this. Oh yeah, one thing I'd nearly forgotten to do before the epoxy had dried in these holes was to screw on the fasteners so that, as the manual said, they set up straight. This is the glued together dagger board trunk assembly. One gotcha that I forgot to tell you about before is when you're gluing it together, make sure to catch any drips that might go along the inside, because later you're going to have to fit a board in there and the drips might impede it. I had to saw off the little bumps from the drips with this little tiny saw, after it dried, of course. Forgot to film it before I cut them off, but they were kind of like this one, which is on the outside. And speaking of the dagger board trunk assembly, here's another place where I did a little more work than I had to, unnecessarily. For some reason, I got the impression that the exterior surfaces of this were going to be exposed and needed a beautiful, shiny, glossy finish of the epoxy. So I spent a lot of time trying to get it that way, making a beautiful glossy finish with no bubbles, sanding it down again. It turns out I didn't need to do that because the epoxy itself will be coated with another finish, either varnish or paint. The reason is that epoxy itself isn't very ultraviolet or UV resistant, so it needs to have another coating of something else. Well, it seems that I've now glued together all the incidental pieces that will go inside the boat hull, and now I've transformed the family room from a gluing station into a boat hull station. So I've positioned my 2 sawhorses and put the very bottom part of the boat, the bottom panel, in place. And now we turn from gluing to stitching. That is stitching with copper wires, which means the stitch part of stitch and glue boat, which is what this is called. You'll notice I put transparent cling wrap on the sawhorses. I'm not sure if it's needed, but I might as well not have the bottom of the boat stick to the sawhorse just in case. Here's the beginning of wiring the boat together. At the end of this process, it should look more like a boat. But to see the boat take shape, you're going to have to tune into the next episode of Build Your Own Small Boat. That's it, folks, for today. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to tune in for next time. See you later!